Welcome to the Mommy Zen Podcast with Marianne Clyde.
Hi, this is Marianne Clyde, and welcome to another episode of the Mommy Zen Podcast. Today we're going to have our Christmas podcast, and I'm going to talk about how to break through the busyness. Today's affirmation is, I am centered and at peace. I know you're all extra busy this time of year, so thanks for taking the time out to try to get a handle on the busyness. It seems these days like being busy is a badge of honor. We ask someone how they're doing and they say, keep 'em busy. Really? What does that mean? What kind of information did you just give that person who wanted to know how you're doing? Keeping busy? What kind of an answer is that? Having a full life or a full client load, taking conscious steps to move through your goals, having healthy relationships along the way, and feeling purposeful and productive. I would label that as a good type of busy, or in which your locus or center of control is inside of you. This is where you're the one that calls the shots, at least most of the shots, and you're the one that makes your decisions, and you're the one that controls your attitude. But the kind of busy that I want to address today is that feeling of crazy busy, the one where everyone is pulling on you from different directions. You're just in react mode. You're keeping your head down and just doing what everybody else wants you to do. You're being tossed around by everyone else's traditions and expectations. There's more shopping, more wrapping, more cards being sent out, more parties, more family gathering, more cooking, more baking, more school activities, and that choral concert you've been practicing for months. You're busy for sure, but you feel no sense of joy or control. And as a matter of fact, you might feel a bit resentful, or even worse yet, of really deep sadness or devastation, because besides all this hustle bustle, this year you have to do it alone because you've lost someone you love. Maybe there's been an illness, a divorce, or a death, and sometimes you feel like you just want to crawl into a hole and cry. So today I'm going to talk briefly about what your busyness says about, number one, your value, number two, your beliefs, and number three, your decisions and your choices that you make. To explain that, let me just say that when you're being pulled in all different directions, even being controlled by just your cell phone, if you take all the other demands away from your time, you're saying to everyone else that you are not important. Of course, if you're irritated easily and snap at people who try to interrupt you or need your attention, like your spouse, your friends, your kids, your co-workers, you're telling them that being busy or doing something else is more important than they are. If you're constantly testy and reading emails and texting while you're superficially engaged with your kids, you're telling them that you have other more important things than they are to you. And this might be bad enough, but what it's really saying, even before it devalues everyone else, is that you're devaluing yourself. You're obviously not realizing what value you add to this present moment. You're minimizing the importance of your contribution to the situation. Are you aware that every word you speak, every thought you think, every action you take has power? Your words send out energy, and that energy can either build up or destroy. You validate or invalidate by a simple action. By your busyness, you are totally minimizing the power that you have in this present moment. Even if it's just a smile or an eye contact or a fully connected, engaged response or a genuine question about what's going on in your child's life, you are building up instead of tearing down. Every quick rejection or irritation tears down. Every word of interest, love, or validation or recognition builds up. You are always building something. So what is it that you're building? And the same goes for number two, your beliefs. You're revealing your beliefs by your actions. I have to say that in my office, when I'm helping a client break through, I find that most of our relationship problems, esteem problems, depression, anxiety, even addictive behaviors come from beliefs that we've formed in childhood. Were you raised with the belief that if you're not busy, you're not worth the room you take up? Were you raised with the belief that Being busy makes you worthwhile. If you just sit there and are not fiddling with something or task-oriented, you're lazy. Even our culture expects us to multitask, to be in a meeting, to be at the dinner table, to be playing a game with our kids, and at the same time, we're texting, we're checking emails, and we're not fully engaged because society deems busyness almost as worthy of worship. This represents an external locus of control. Everything outside of you is in control. You're reacting rather than engaging. You are living from beliefs that were formed for you instead of beliefs you've actually thought through and accepted or rejected. Many of us were raised with the belief that says everybody else comes first. You're not as important as the grown-ups. You don't matter. I don't care what you think. Just do what I say. So of course it's natural for us to fall into that belief system because we've believed it all our lives. I'm here to tell you that you matter, that your actions matter, and that busyness often gives us a place to hide our true feelings and opinions because we think nobody cares anyway. Busyness is just a cover for the anxiety you feel about being still. And being still sometimes is absolutely necessary to recharge your batteries. It's the only way you can connect with your source, to spend time absorbing all that goodness and love that He is, and connected to Him, that's who you are. But you can't find that in the busyness. You can't find the meaning of life in the whirlwind we've come to consider as all important. You can only find Him in the stillness, in the quiet, in the moments of taking a deep breath and detachment, so you can actually consider what it is you do believe, what it is you really do want. In moments you consider what choices you really do want to make. And number 3, make choices that work for you, knowing that you do matter. If a belief is not working for you, you change it. You make choices about your activities from a place of calm and detachment so you can regain your locus of control, an internal locus of control, instead of being controlled by everyone else's expectations and feeling like you have no power. Understand that everything in your life is because of choices you have made or are making. Do you want to bake those cookies? Yes or no? Why? Will there be consequences from the decision of not baking cookies? Every decision has consequences. So know why you're choosing to bake or not to bake, then choose your attitude about it. If you're consciously making a choice to do one thing or the other, be happy about it, not resentful or guilty. Your opinion and your reasoning matters. The most important thing is that you're engaged with those who need you and love you. Are your decisions helping or hindering that connection? If you feel resentful about having to go to a certain relative's for dinner, consider why you go. If it's only to make your spouse happy, well then that's not a bad reason, because it's because you love your spouse and then choose to be happy about it. If you choose not to go, make the decision considering what the consequences would be. Are those consequences worth it? If so, by all means then stay home. But make a decision that's conscious. If you're sad and lonely, try looking at your situation in a new way. What's good about being alone? What can you do that you couldn't have done before? If you don't have your kids this Christmas, don't dwell on thoughts of resentment and bitterness and self-pity, saying this wasn't my choice. Accept it for what it is and change your tradition. Invite new people over. Go out to dinner. Take a trip. Enjoy the quiet time without the kids by taking a spiritual retreat or a hike up the mountain. You matter. Restoring your soul is vital in order to be fully present when you do have the kids. And if you've lost someone, how can you still include them and their spirit into the gatherings? Can you honor their memory in some way by helping someone else? By planting a tree in their honor and decorating it? Can you visit those less fortunate in the spirit of giving? Remember, just because someone is gone, they would still want you to be happy. It doesn't honor them if you allow that loss to destroy you. Breathe in their strength and love and use it in a way that makes a difference. Remember, you matter. Make choices formed from your new beliefs and an understanding that you do matter. Your choices matter as much as anyone else's, not more, not less, but as much. And bring that locus of control to the inside of you. Make this holiday season one of purposeful actions, purposeful interactions, because you matter. After all, that's why Jesus came, because you matter. So remember today's affirmation: I am centered and at peace, and have a joyful holiday season. This is Marianne Clyde. See you next time on the next Mommy Zen podcast.
Thanks for listening to the Mommy Zen podcast. For nuggets of encouragement and strength throughout your day, follow Marianne on Twitter at mommy_zen and Facebook at facebook.com/mommyjustbreathe. Also, you can join our mailing list, leave comments, or ask questions by visiting mommy-zen.com.